In an ancient kingdom, tucked between the jagged peaks of the silent mountains, ruled a king known for his unusual wisdom. He did not judge men by their wealth or their titles, but by the hidden corners of their souls. One cold autumn evening, the king descended into the deepest, darkest dungeon of his palace. In the furthest cell, 3 men sat in silence, chained by their past mistakes and serving life sentences. The king looked at them and made a startling proclamation. "Tomorrow at the first light of dawn, I will give you a puzzle. The one who solves it with his heart shall walk free. The others will remain here until their final days." The prisoners did not sleep that night. They wondered what kind of riddle or complex game the king would play. The next morning, the guards led the 3 men into the king's private garden. It was a place of immense beauty, but in the center stood a strange sight. There was a massive stone basin, carved from a single rock, filled to the very brim with crystal-clear water. Next to the basin lay a pile of old rusted iron buckets, but as the prisoners picked them up, they gasped. Every single bucket was riddled with hundreds of tiny holes. They were not buckets, they were sieves. The king stood before them and gave his command. "Your task is simple, yet it requires all of you. You must use these buckets to empty every drop of water from this large stone basin and pour it into the small wooden troughs at the far edge of the garden. I will return at sunset. The man who has worked with a true heart will be judged worthy of freedom." The first prisoner, a man of high intelligence but great arrogance, dipped his bucket into the water. As he lifted it, the water poured out of the holes like rain. Not a single drop remained by the time he pulled it out of the basin. He laughed bitterly and threw the bucket to the grass. "This is a fool's errand," he spat. "The king is a madman. He is mocking our misery by giving us a task that defies the laws of nature. I will not be a pawn in his game." He sat down under a cedar tree, closed his eyes, and refused to move for the rest of the day. The second prisoner was a man of great physical strength. He thought he could beat the puzzle with speed. He began to dip and run. He moved so fast that his legs blurred, hoping to reach the trough before the water leaked out. But no matter how fast he ran, the result was always the same. By the time he reached the trough, the bucket was bone dry. Hour after hour he struggled, his anger growing with every empty trip. Finally, under the heat of the midday sun, he screamed in frustration. "This is impossible. The king is not wise. He is cruel. He gives us hope only to watch us fail." He smashed his bucket against a stone and lay in the dirt, defeated by his own rage. But the third prisoner was different. He was a quiet man who had spent his years in the cell reflecting on his life. When he saw the holes in the bucket, he did not get angry. He thought to himself, "The king is my master. He has given me a task. Even if it seems meaningless, it is the only task I have. I will do it simply because it was asked of me." He began to work. He dipped the bucket, watched the water leak out, and walked calmly to the trough. He poured nothing into it. Then he turned around and went back. 1 hour passed, then 3, then 6. The other 2 prisoners mocked him. "Look at the fool," they cried. "You are watering the grass with your sweat and getting nothing in return. Stop and rest, you're making a spectacle of yourself." The third man said nothing. He didn't look at the trough, and he didn't look at the giant basin to see how much water was left. He focused only on the single step he was taking. His back began to ache. His palms began to bleed from the rusted handle. His breath came in ragged gasps. But in his heart, he found a strange peace. He was no longer a prisoner. He was a man with a purpose. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of blood and gold, the king returned. He looked at the first prisoner, who was sleeping. He looked at the second, who was cursing the ground. Finally, he looked at the third man, who was trembling with exhaustion, still dipping his leaky bucket into the basin. The stone basin was still nearly full. The man had moved almost no water at all. The man fell to his knees as the king approached. "Master," he whispered, his voice cracking, "I have failed you. I worked until my strength was gone, but the water remains. I am a fool. The king knelt down and took the rusted bucket from the man's shaking hands. You think you have failed because you were looking at the water, the king said softly. But I was looking at the bucket. The king held the bucket up to the dying light of the sun. The man looked. Throughout the day, the thousands of gallons of water passing through the rusted holes had washed away the years of filth, mud, and thick orange rust. And there, at the very bottom, wedged into the metal, was a brilliant, sparkling diamond that had been hidden under the rust for decades. The other men wanted the reward of freedom, but they hated the work, the king proclaimed. You accepted the work, and in doing so, you cleansed the vessel. Only a man who works when there is no visible hope is truly free in his heart. The diamond is your prize. The kingdom is your home. In our lives, we often feel like the third prisoner. We work, we pray, we struggle, and yet it feels like our efforts are leaking through holes we cannot fix. We look at our troughs and see they are empty. But remember this, your work is never in vain. While you think you are failing to move the water is busy cleaning you. It is removing the rust of doubt, the mud of laziness, and the grime of impatience. Don't look at the basin. Look at your heart. Your diamond is being revealed in the struggle. This is Wisdomic growth. If this story touched your soul, subscribe and join our journey. Until next time, keep walking your path.